started teaching the children their phonics lessons. So the children are already building up some sounds that we're practicing, and we're using those to make little words with them. So what we're really working on with the children at the moment in school is blending. So we'll just show you now with Mrs. Steele has got our letters.
So this is what we're using. I hope you can see that.
So
we'd say d, I, p, d, I, p, dip. And then the children would have a go at doing that in order that they will then be able to read their little reading books when they come home.
Okay, so that's what we're working on at the moment with the children in school. So if you want to play some little games at home doing that, that would be brilliant. You can do it orally. You can do at, and the children have got to say cat, or touch your head, and they'll touch their head. So lots of games doing that will really help your children. In a couple of weeks' time, we will be sending home some little individual letter cards. So you will be able to play little games with the cards that we use, similar to the cards that we use in school as well. But that's the main thing that we're working on with the children at this moment.
And you'll know exactly which letters we've already introduced in school. So the letters that they should know, the sounds that they make, and they'll be able to use those to segment and blend those words.
They'll come home in their news books. So next week, next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but a week tomorrow, they'll bring home their little news book each week, and it comes home on a Wednesday to be returned on the following Monday. And inside there, it will tell you exactly which sounds we've been learning with the children during the week. So you can focus on those sounds if you'd like to support your child as well.
And it'll give you how we form those letters as well, so that as you're working on them, you're working on how they look and how they be written as well.
So there's a little rhyme with each letter from the little Wandle scheme that we use. So you can practice with your child. Some children find forming the letters really tricky, but it's really, really important that we can try now to get them to write the letters correctly, so they don't have to correct bad habits. And as well, if they see those letters in their name, then it's really helpful for them to form them correctly using our school handwriting style. So,
and we are already learning that in school. We're practicing it. We've got the whiteboards out of the morning so that they can have a go again at doing it. And we're doing it within our phonics lessons in school as well.
Your children will also come home with, you'll see in their news book that there are some tricky words. So these are the words that are not phonetically plausible. So already we've introduced the tricky word is with the children this week, and they know that the tricky bit is this bit because it sounds like a z. So again, we'll be giving you information about which tricky words your children are being taught each half term and why that bit is tricky. So you can play games to help your children. You can do tricky word hunts around the house. You can write them on little yellow stickies.
Make a pairs game so that they're matching them and recognizing them. The more they can do with them, the more familiar they will be with those words.
Okay, so that's our phonics.
Yeah.
Okay, reading books. So again, we use the little Wandle reading scheme. So we follow that.
It links really closely to our phonics, doesn't it? So it's the phonics, little Wandle is our phonics scheme, and that has its own reading scheme as well. So everything links. The books are leveled at where the children are at.
And we do guided reading. So the children read 3 times a week with an adult. The first, as we said in the video, is to decode. So again, the children might have to work quite hard to sound out a word. It might be like tap. And the second time we read it is for prosody. So we're going to be reading with more expression and fluency. And the third time we read the book, we read it and we ask comprehension questions to check the children have understood the story. Once the children have had that book for a school read it in school for a week, then it comes home on the Friday. So, and you keep that book at home to share with your child again. In the video, we mentioned ebooks, but last year we actually purchased hardback copies of the books so the children can use those. But we do ask, can you please look after the books really carefully because they're really expensive. So it just makes it easier for us because we need them in school to read with during the week. We'll also have a library book to bring home as well. Again, that's just a lovely story for you to share together for a story time. So later on in the year, we'll also give your children another reading book. That will be one that they haven't been read with in school. So again, that they will find that a little bit trickier.
But it shouldn't be anything that they've not been introduced to, should it? It should be the sounds they're familiar with. They should be able to segment and blend those words that are coming up in that book, and build to reading that more fluently as well.
So we won't be sending those home until later on during the academic year, because when we start to read, we want the children to start to read fluently. So that's why reading a book that's familiar to them, that they've practiced in school, is what we want them to do.
Yeah.
So we also ask that their reading books come to school every day. When they come home, they'll be in a little plastic folder. So if you can keep them in those, and we'll give you a little comment book as well, so you can write a little comment every time you hear your child read.
Just protects them when they're going backwards and forwards in their book bags, especially on rainy days. So letter formation. So as we've said, we are already learning to form those letters, and we're really working on forming those letters correctly, especially when we're writing our names. Lots of children have come in able to write their names, but we're really looking at forming the letters correctly as they're writing their name. So we're doing lots and lots of work on that currently within school. And we're looking at that correct grip, the way they're holding their pencil, in order that they can develop that fluent handwriting style.
Some children still struggle with the muscles in their hand yet. So we can do lots of activities to help develop that. They can have big paintbrushes outside with water, chunky chalks outside. If you've got shaving foam, you can spread that out on the side in the kitchen, and they can use their finger to make the letter shapes and make patterns.
Just make it fun. So it's not more school, it's fun. It's that developing those muscles, isn't it?
It is.
Playing with dough.
Play-Doh, Lego, all of those things really help the children to develop the muscles in their hands. And that makes writing a lot easier for them then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Maths. Moving on.
So we're developing maths, a good understanding of number. So we stick to numbers, we don't go above 20, and our main focus is numbers up to 10. So, and again, our maths is investigating and building up a knowledge of number, so they can see what that number is.
They're getting those solid foundations in order that they can do anything. As the numbers get bigger, they have an understanding of what that means, what that looks like, how to break that down.
So for example, last week in maths, we were looking at number 3, and we had 3 to be shown in different ways. So we've got some big counters, and some children will put them in a row going down. Some children will put them diagonally, and they have to work out that it's still a 3 and learn to recognize it's a 3 without counting it.
Yeah. And also they started to put them in a pattern of 1 and 2, because they're seeing then that 3 is made of 2 and 1 more. So it develops their number really well, doesn't it?
By the expectations for the end of foundation stage is that the children need to learn their number bonds of numbers up to 5 and some to 10. So that's what we're aiming towards the end of the year. We also look about shape as well, shape, space and measures. So again, when you're out and about with your children, we can see lots of signs, circle signs, triangular signs, 3D shapes as well, your tins of baked beans. What shape is this?
What can you find in the house? What shapes can you find?
So that's what we cover during the year as well.
Do lots and lots of counting with them to get that accurate one-to-one counting. We've got a puppet in school that just keeps getting it wrong, and they are helping that maths monkey to get that right, because he's counting them too fast, he's moving them around, he's recounting them, and they are learning those really crucial skills of making sure they're tapping one at a time as they count.
Okay. So news books, we've already mentioned those. So they'll come home next Wednesday, and inside it tells you exactly what we've been doing in school. And then what we'd like you to do with your child each week is they can do a little picture, and they can do something about what you've done as a family over the weekend. If you've been to the park, they can write a little sentence towards the end of the year. We'd like them to write a little sentence, not copied, but having their own ideas, just having a go.
We love to see their writing, their spellings. It's fine if it's their own inventive spellings. We're getting really good at reading those now, aren't we? It makes it fun, but it's theirs to share, and it's a lovely record at the end of your year of all the things you've done. So
and perhaps maybe at this stage of the year, they could find an autumnal leaf that they found in the garden or on a walk, and maybe they could just do a leaf, just an initial sound. Mm-hmm. So just to encourage them to have a little go. So, but by the end of the year, as Mrs. Steele said, they're a lovely reflection of their first year in school. Towards the end of the year, if they want to write a sentence or write something longer, perhaps you could draw a line in their books for them to write on, because that just helps the child to have an anchor point.
Yeah, and we always have a line, don't we? Our whiteboard boards have got a line, and everything they're doing in school, even now, we've got lines for them to start understanding that writing sits on that line.
Okay, so has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask?
Hi, it's Fiona, Grace Plunkett's mum.
Hello.
Hi there. I remember when Oban was in reception, to do with you know, forming letters correctly, there was a little crib sheet that came with some letters and just like how you write them, because obviously the way they write in school is different from the way I learned to write them. Is that going to be something that we get in?
That will be in the news book, and it will follow the little wandle, so it's a rhyme that they will get. So the letters that we've introduced already will come home in the news book with the rhyme for how they form that letter, and the children will be familiar with those rhymes. We've been saying them in school lots already.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? We know that there's a lot of information, and when they start school, about how we teach them to read and write in our maths, but please feel free to ask us anything you would like.
It's very, very much a partnership, so come and ask.
Anybody else? No, well, we'd like to thank you very much for listening to us, and we hope that the videos have been useful for you. And please just come and ask us. So news books will come home next week, and the children will get their first reading books just before half term.
Thank you for attending.
Okay, thank you very much, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.